Happy holidays, everyone. It's Miss Rebecca. Today you'll need a white paper and a pencil, a circle to trace, watercolors if you have them, and some crayons or oil pastels like these. Okay, let's get started. We're going to create a beautiful candle that is shining on top of a wreath. So start at the bottom of your paper and draw a large curve. The curve is like a hill that goes up and down from the left side of your paper to the right side of your paper. So it goes all the way from one side to the other, a big curve or a hill. Now inside this hill, I want you to create 3 circles that are connected any way you like, but the 3 circles are going to be one on the left side, one set in the middle, and one set of 3 on the other side. So these 3 circles are about the size of a dime. Just go around and around. Now for our wreath, we're creating this leaf shape. The leaf is just going to have points on it. So we're going to make these curves that curve to a point, and or you could just do the leaf shape that you already know. But if you want to make it look like this holly, the leaves will have points to it. Now all I'm doing is adding leaf shapes coming out of these 3 circles. And you notice that they're poking out over that hill. That's okay. So you're creating these curves. The curves come to a point. And I just added 2 leaves to each set of berries. And now I'm going to fill in the rest of that space inside that hill shape that we first drew. So I'm just going to fill the space by adding these pointy curves anywhere I have empty space. So yours could look completely different than mine as long as you fill in the space with these pointy curve lines, or a full leaf if you can fit an extra leaf, go for it. But all we're doing is creating the impression that there is a wreath here at the bottom of your paper, and the wreath has these little berries. Okay, so once you have that, I want you to take your eraser and now erase the curve that we drew first. So that hill, that was just a guide to tell you about how far up to go on your paper. And that guide made it so that your wreath has a curve to it. So we're just erasing it now so you don't need to see that. And then draw back in anything you might have missed. You can add a few more points like I'm doing here. I'm just adding a few more points to fill it out a little bit. And again, there's no right or wrong answer. You really can't mess this up. As long as you have leaf shapes and your 3 circle sets, it's going to look just fine. So I'm just going back in and I am kind of defining the leaves that I like, and I'm erasing the things that I don't like. And when you look at yours, you'll be able to tell what looks good to you. Okay, so now we're going to create the candle. So the candle, I want you to draw 2 vertical lines. Vertical means up and down. So notice that one line is short and one line is a little bit longer. That's okay. Let me just adjust the camera so you can see the center of the paper a better. Now at the top of these 2 vertical lines, draw a wavy line that connects them. Notice I just put 3 little bumps. And then on the top, I want you to curve around, follow the curve that you just drew, and then bring it down vertically on one side to a drip. Just a curve. I'm cleaning it up here a little bit. If you need to use your eraser to clean up your drawing, go for it. but that kind of looks like the wax is dripping off the candle on the left side there. So find the middle of your candle like I'm doing here, and you're going to draw your little tiny wick. And now we're drawing the two curves that come up to a point for the flame. So that's going to be the center of the flame. We're going to double it. So curve up one side, curve up the other side until you get to a point at the top. Now I'm moving the camera up a little so you can see the top of the paper. Now we're at the point where you can use your stencil or your cup or Tupperware or bowl, saucer, whatever you have. Place it directly on top of the flame and then hold it down and trace along that stencil, whatever you have, circular, and trace along so that you have a circle. The circle should be going around the flame. Okay, now we're going to follow the shape of your circle at the top. You're at the top of your paper, and I just want you to draw a curve that cuts off the corner at the top, cuts off the corner on both sides. So notice it is following the circular shape, but you're cutting off the bottom here, just like you did on the top. Just follow your circle shape, and there we have it. And that's the extent of the drawing. That's the drawing. Now we're going to change to your crayons or your oil pastels. Start with yellow and fill in the middle of the flame with yellow. Change to orange, and the outer part of the flame is orange. Okay, there you go. You might have some crumbs like I do. Just brush them off. Okay, now the purple. I'm going to outline the entire candle with purple. And then I'm going to fill in the entire candle with purple. Your candle could be any color you like. It doesn't have to be exactly the same color as my candle. So I'm just taking my time and I'm filling this in nice and solid. So you're going to notice that we're going to use mixed media, meaning we're going to use crayons and watercolors. But for this first part, we're going to stick to the crayon or the oil pastel, whatever you have, and then we'll use the watercolors last. All right, so I filled in that whole candle with purple, even the drip. Now I'm going to change to my green, and I'm going to outline around all of the pointy leaves that we made for the wreath. So just take your time and outline however you did your leaves. And we're not going to fill these in with crayon, we're just going to outline them with crayon. So that way we can go in later and use the watercolor paint right on top of that crayon. And the crayon will show through. Now I'm going to take the red and I'm going to fill in the berries with my red. Just go ahead and do that. And that's the extent of your crayon. Let's switch now to watercolors. So you have your watercolors, use a lot of water in your yellow. And that first circle around the flame, we're going to paint in yellow, completely yellow. So just loosely paint. It's okay if you go out of the circle a little bit, it's okay. Now we're going to switch to red. Use a lot of water, and the next ring will be red. Now I'm using the red pretty dark, so I'm using it and I'm going over the yellow a little bit. That's okay, because they're going to blend together naturally since it's water. I'm just filling in that ring next to the yellow with my red. And you notice that it's already blending a little bit with the yellow. I'm not even being that careful to stay inside the lines because you want the watercolors to blend. And I'm just adding more red because I want it to be kind of a dark red. Go over the yellow part a little bit more. See if I can get some more blending going on. Okay, now for the corners, I want you to take purple. It's hard to find purple sometimes because purple looks kind of black, but the purple's next to the blue. So I'm gonna make all those four corners a nice deep purple watercolor, and notice I'm blending it in with that red. I'm just going over the red a little bit, and I'm using a lot of water. You do the same thing on all four corners. So I'm using a dark purple, and I'm gonna go over it, over the red part a little bit, just to let it blend together. And the watercolor will naturally blend together. I want it even darker than that, dark purple. So it looks like this candle is shining in the dark. So I make it extra purple, extra dark. Do the last corner with this purple, nice and dark. Make sure you blend it right over the red a little bit. If you make a mistake, you just use your finger like I do and wipe it off. Sometimes it works. And there you go. So that's the background there. And now I'm going to take your green. The green, we're going to go right over the entire leaf. All the leaves just go right on top with this green. And your crayon or your oil pastel should show right through. You don't even have to be super careful because that oil pastel and crayon will resist the watercolor, and the waters will show very nicely here. I'm just filling in. I'm going right over it with my green. Until it's how I like it. Now you notice the top, it's blending. The purple has blended down into the red a little bit. If this kind of dripping is happening for you, just go back in and do it again. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take some more red, and I'm just going to go over where it was dripping. And you notice that the drips disappeared. And now I'm just kind of very loosely with my brush going over the yellow again. And I'm going over the yellow and kind of going in the motion, a circular motion with my brush. I'm going over the red again to make it nice and dark, to make sure everything is blending. Because I want it to really pop. So I'm blending that red with the purple again. And I might even take a little bit of orange and mix some orange between the red and the yellow. And voila. There you have it. Please post your stuff on Google Classroom. I'd love to see what you do. Thanks, guys.